everybody. I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Z Garcia. Hello.
Sam Healy. Welcome back, folks.
We're in the top 40.
Top 40 hits of all time.
Casey Kasem's top 40 games of all time.
I think we've done this joke like 3 or 4 times
Yes,
now.
we
Number
have.
40.
We have.
All right. So this is, of course, getting more exciting for me as we get to the top. I have 3 new games in this 10, and the People's Choice has 2. What do you have, 10?
3. I have 7 new games on this
No
segment.
way.
On this segment, yes. This is just where they fell, I guess.
You've had some major upheaval
Wow. You know how many I have?
this year. 0.
Yes, right.
I was like that.
So when you get the Z, you can just fast forward.
I'll just mention it real
Already
quick.
seen it.
I was like that.
Just mention it real quick and move on.
70 through 61.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what I was about to say. So let's get started. All right, my number 40 has been on the list since the very beginning. It was 28 last year. Still like this game, even though no one plays with me, and my main opponent has gone to college now. So I don't know when I'm going to play it next.
Dun, dun,
And that's Duel of Ages, 2nd edition. No, Melody's gone. What do I do? Who do I play with?
You know what else is gone? Your dignity. This game needs to finally drop off your top
It needs to
100.
go away.
I really like it.
There are so many other games that do the same thing in
Really?
a streamlined.
Baloney. Name more than one.
That do. Okay, well, hold on. Is the thing that you like the fact that you can have a soldier fighting an orangutan fighting like a?
Yes.
That's what you like?
The anachronistic part of it.
How about anachronism?
No, because that's a terrible game.
It is shorter by about 4 hours.
Well, no. Duel of Ages is whatever length you set for it.
Yeah, it has no end. Yes, it's that bad.
No.
They couldn't come up with an ending. It's
Oh,
that
blah,
bad.
blah, blah, blah. I love the game. It's definitely, though, very esoteric. This is one of those games that if someone said, recommend me a board game, I'd be very hesitant to Duel of Ages.
If I heard you say it, I would tackle you. I would love to see that. Like,
Did
well,
you read some comment where people are like, you need to be meaner to each other? Anyway, I like the game a lot. I like the whole mixing of everything. This was my favorite game for a while. And I still just, it's clunky, needs to be streamlined.
Yes.
But
Keep going,
it's just
keep going.
so much fun.
Don't get to the butts yet. Keep going. It's clunky.
What's your
needs to
number
be
40?
streamlined.
Wow.
Man, that was pretty mean.
That's just where I'm starting. This is 40. By the time you get to 31, I will be probably smacking your hand.
No, you'll agree with me on a lot of the other ones I'm
see.
saying.
We'll
All right, my number 40 was number 78 last year, so it has risen a bit, and this is probably one of my favorite, and I'm not putting a number on how many of my favorites are there, but one of my favorite 2-player games, and that is Raptor.
That's right.
It's already been on
It's
your
already been in
list.
yours, and it's coming up. No, it's not, but I do like it.
That's how you pick games.
Raptor is just one of the coolest thematic games possible.
I
Between
feel like I need to water him today. Look at this.
For a 2-player game. Sometimes 2-player games don't really carry the theme very well. They've got great mechanisms and all that kind of stuff, but this one carries the theme well, and it's strange, but because it wasn't actually the original theme, but it still carries well.
That's right.
It's great. It's playing as the scientists or the Raptors. Either side is very fun. Both sides are, I think, balanced as far as how easy or difficult it is to win, and you just have to be clever.
Girl.
Yes, thank you. You saved it there.
Let's
Number 40 is Raptor.
walk the joke home there. All right, go
Yes.
ahead.
Walk the joke home. All right, where are we at? 40. Carcassonne of the City is my number 40. Was 36 last time, so barely moved. This is probably my favorite Carcassonne version. I really like this one. I like the fact that it kind of ramps up as you are playing with the idea of building up the wall around the city. And then you get from stage 1 to stage 2, you get the wall. From stage 2 to stage 3, you're building the wall faster around the city. And eventually, when you're done, you'll look at the whole thing and it'll look really cool on the board. You got all the tiles, wall, towers, the gate for the city. And there's a few different ways to score in it. This is, like I said, I think my favorite, just straight out of the box Carcassonne version that doesn't, without any extra stuff. They never made expansions for this, but vanilla version out of the box this is my best, my favorite, the best one. So
I think it's the best one to teach new people also, because when you play original Carcassonne, like the new big box Carcassonne I got, farmers are actually a module in it.
yeah, they eventually pull
They're not in
farmers
the
out,
base
yeah.
game, right? Because they're a little more complicated to explain. But in this one, there's the replacement for farmers are these guards in the wall. They're really easy to understand. You know, just what you can see straight across.
Sure, yeah. I
It's a
mean, there is
really easy
something
thing
that's
to
kind of
teach.
like farmers in it too, but
Yeah, but
I do
they're
like,
more straightforward. They score like this.
I do like the guy who stands on the wall and looks across, and you score special buildings in the path. That's cool. It's a nice way to do it. So yeah, that's my 40.
All right, your number 40 was 33 last year and was not on the list before that, and that is Eldritch Horror. So I'm very curious to see where this one will land next year with the new Arkham showing up any day now, really, right? It's going to, I think it's being released this month or next month. I'm not quite sure, but Z's already raving about it, which I like to put a little check mark because I bet in a year he's going to complain about how overwrought and
So
complex the new Arkham Horror is going to be. He is.
Maybe so.
Eldritch
that
Horror.
cult of the future that's how that works. I'm sorry, I didn't come up with that. You're supposed to rave about it before it comes out. You play it. If you backed it on Kickstarter, you like it slightly more than other people would, and then in a year you complain about the fact that it's a year old and busted, and you look forward to whatever's next.
All right, but anyway, Eldritch Horror, still very popular, still a game I know a lot of people really like, and I think it knocked Arkham off the list completely. I don't remember if we got to Arkham Horror or not, because Arkham Horror was
be bad.
already falling down last year, and I don't see Arkham Horror, the board game, on the list at all.
Yeah, man.
That's how that works.
That's right.
Dog hair all over me. It's disgusting. I hate it.
Thanks. My number 39 was 23 last year, and it's been on the list ever since it began. And this is a game that I got the brand new upgraded edition to, and it wasn't upgraded enough, which is weird. That's Empire, Age of Discovery, or originally Age of Empires 3, because the new one comes with like a double-sided board. You're like, ooh, let's use the other side. Oh, I didn't get the cards for that. You have to get them like as a Kickstarter thing or whatever.
Right.
But other than that, it really is a great game. I love the workers being different, which is something that's so fun and so good. And yet I don't even know if I could do a top 10 game that does like different workers. Like you mentioned demon workers, you have different workers.
Right.
This one has different workers. There's a few other games that have workers that do
Projects.
different things, but there's not
Manhattan
many.
Project, yeah, I mean, there's a few. Yeah, you're right.
And I like that though. I like that, I get more missionaries than you guys do, so now I'm going out and doing the area control. And that's the other thing. I like that there's a big area control factor to this game.
Yes. Yeah,
See,
it
you
does.
like that game? I'm 1 for 2.
Oh, I did like it. I'll be back.
Sucker! Empire's Age of Discovery, my number 39.
You win this round, He-Man.
That's not what Skeletor sounds like at all.
Huh?
Skeletor reference. Nice.
Yeah.
All right, my number 39 is new to the list. Again, there's
Well, better be if there's 7.
7 of them. Okay, so number 39, new to the list, from Yellow and Brett J. Gilbert, and I think there's a co-designer. I can't remember who the other designer is. Raids. yeah.
What? I don't
really
remember you
enjoy this
raving
one.
about it.
He
What?
rated about it.
Wow, that deserves a.
I apologize for everything.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You should apologize for that one.
No, the reason this is so high on my list is that it is great. No, it is about Vikings.
It is about Vikings, yes. I like how you said that.
It's about Vikings. It's not a very Viking-y theme.
It's Viking adjacent.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. But I mean, there's a lot of rating. There is a lot of combat. It's supremely abstracted. You know, it's not, you're not rolling dice or attacking other people or anything like that. However, you are challenging other people for different ports around the board. And one of the things that I like about it so much is that it's so easy to play, it's so simple to teach, and yet there's so much, I think, replayability that's kind of hidden beneath the surface. It doesn't look like there's a lot of replayability there, but I really think there is, because the tiles that are at each of the different ports, they're going to be changed from game to game. They are also changed from round to round. So there's just a lot of variation that goes on in the game. So I really enjoy it. I like the ease of mechanisms. That whole idea of you can go as far as you want, but you can never go backwards on the
Hotel California
pond, lake,
path,
whatever
the
it is, the
rondelle, or
pace,
whatever,
whatever
yeah.
it might be. So that's
That's a
really cool
Hokkaido
mechanism.
idea. You can jump ahead
Yeah.
as far as you want, but you can't back up.
It's another mechanism I wish they used more in games.
So it's a great game. The first time I played it was at Gen Con this year, and I played it a few times since then. So it's good. I love it.
This one has
39
not really even
raids.
crossed my radar. I guess I should get around to playing it.
It's great artwork too.
Radar.
Oh my goodness. No.
Man, you are puntastic today, bro.
No. There's no
Yes.
tastic part.
Just pun. Okay, my number 39 is Ticket to Ride. It was 30 last time. I think actually last time it was Ticket to Ride.
Ooh, fascinating. Is this all of them?
Europe, but now I'm just saying, just pick the one you want. I don't care.
You don't care?
Ticket to Ride.
And we're playing
Hi, you
Markland.
don't care?
Markland is my least favorite, but I'll still play it.
You just said you don't care.
I don't care. I'll play that, but I just find it to be really fiddly with the point stacks and all that stuff everywhere. Actually, the reworked Markland Ticket to Ride Germany is one of my favorites. So that could have easily
And that's actually one of my least favorites.
that could have easily been it. It's got a similar idea of picking up passengers, but it is done in a much more straightforward way. With I just find it to be less fiddly with the little stacks of
But it
points.
doesn't have the cool Markland trains. I want to rehash the same stupid argument we had.
My number 39, one of the Ticket to Ride games. Pick one. Ticket to Ride card game, for example.
All right, People's Choice number 39
Dice
is
game.
brand new to the list. And that is the very popular Seventh Continent. Blue one to the top. Again, just
Will we see it later?
storytelling. On the People's Choice? No, it's,
No, on your.
oh no, it's probably fallen off my list. Maybe. Seventh Continent. This one had a really big Kickstarter. Actually, I think this one might have gone higher if the second Kickstarter. I don't know if it's delivered yet or not. I know that there's expansions that they made for it, like one with a hot air balloon, and then one where you're like going through caves and stuff. And I don't believe those expansions have been sent yet, mostly because I don't have mine, so I would just assume that it hasn't got there yet.
All right, cool.
I'm looking forward to those additions to the game. But this one didn't surprise me that it was on the list.
Yeah, this
Seventh
was
Continent.
super popular.
All right, my number 38 is new to the list. It was 147 last year. It moved up for two reasons. One, I played it
There's like 100 spots.
Yeah, it is. Well, there's two reasons. One, I played it a lot on the cruise, and I was like, why is this game not higher? I love this game a lot. And two, the expansion's amazing. And that is Role Player. Role Player has really moved up for me. Yeah, that expansion is like must. I will not play without that expansion. That's how much I like it. Yep.
I got to get my hands on that.
The expansion adds these little monsters you can fight. It just adds like another thing you do. It adds clear dice that go higher than 6, so your stats can go extremely high. But
How's that possible?
They don't start at 1.
But they also aren't a color, so they don't meet the color requirements that you need in the role-playing
So
on
you
the
get a
board.
higher number, but not the color. Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay,
that
that's
evens
cool.
it out.
That's
So
cool.
if you pull them out, you're like, oh, great. But, I don't get to fill in the color stuff. So that's a neat concept.
Is there, like monster fighting in it or something?
Yeah, there's like some
Expansion?
monsters you can fight. It's basically just another action, like, oh, I can't buy an item this turn, so I'll fight a monster instead. It just gives you something. It feels like you're doing something every turn. And it also makes the game a little bit less, makes it a little more thematic.
Okay.
Because before it was about building up a character. When you're done, you're like, woohoo! Okay, game's over.
Yeah.
I built a character, but I'll never get to use him. Here you can use him a bit. And also, at the end, you fight one big monster.
Oh, okay.
So, that's Role Player. Definitely becoming one of my favorites.
That's a huge jump.
Yeah.
My number 38 is, was 34 last year, so it is right around the same area, Summoner Wars. This is also, for me, it's a two-player game. It says you can go up to 4, but I never play it that way.
Nope.
I have never seen it play before except one time at a convention, and that was including the designer.
Really?
Who was testing it, and at the end of that game said, nope, not a 4-player game. That is hearsay. That is not.
Absolute hearsay. The reason that this is on my list is because it does kind of fill that. Gee whiz, not really.
Amazing game.
No. It's a great back and forth two-player game where your army is different than the other person's army, and I like that. I like those kinds of games. I like the fact that it doesn't rely too heavily upon moving around the board. It's more heavily reliant upon, in my opinion at least, where you place your walls. And that's one of the factors of the game that I enjoy the most, is placing your walls in such a way that it makes it hard for your opponent to get at you, but if you can use the special abilities, one of my favorites are the vine orcs, I think they're called, that where the walls have all of these special abilities that come with them. And I just really enjoy the game a lot. It's my older sons, they've enjoyed the game as well a lot too. So it's just one of those games that have always kind of been on the list, and it's probably found its home around this area because it's just really fun. So my number 38, Summoner.
I think one thing Sam and I both agree that's really good about this game is that it takes what could be a miniatures game and puts it on the cards, and then you move the cards around and fight.
He's trying to
That's
get
something
it
I think
into.
is good.
And it's also much better than other games that have already previously showed up on other people's segments.
Well,
And it
hopefully,
has
because
nice-
it's 37.
It has nice artwork, yes?
Has a lot better artwork than other similar mechanically inclined games.
Stay out of this, troll.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This is our fight.
I'm sorry, I'm out. All right, my number 38 was 65 before.
Oh, it's going up.
Yep, that's what the smaller number means. Thunderbirds.
I'm gonna go across the table soon.
Someone's salty.
Thunderbirds is my number 38. I like it because Mad Leacock and Thunderbirds. And
No way, you did not. You were not a huge fan of Thunderbirds before you played this.
I've never seen it before, actually.
We watched the intro one time for an hour.
That was great. Him getting into
and
the
then you laughed for another
Thunderbird
hour.
2 or whatever. He's like, and you're like, oh man, these guys are never going to save the world at this rate.
Guy was on the other side of the world.
It was,
How long
it
this?
was pretty hilarious. The old animation for that is gold. They did do the series for Amazon, which I thought was pretty good actually. The few episodes I did see. Whatever. The theme is very, for some people nostalgic. It's got that whole fight the evil mastermind, do good, that whole thing, which is fine. I think the theme here works. It's kind of an interesting, wholesome kind of theme. But the gameplay I find really interesting. It is, this one, more than any other co-op game from Matt Leacock especially, really emphasizes being at the right place at the right time. It's really tricky. I mean, you have to coordinate so much to make sure that, okay, you in this machine need to be in this part of the world while I jump on the rocket and go to the moon, and then we can fight this. So I like that. It's tricky, it's thinky, very engaging. Thunderbirds, my 38. It moved up, I think, because there's 3 new expansions that came out, and they add quite a bit. They're fun.
Thunderbirds are go.
People's Choice 38 was 41, so it's moved up slightly. And this is before the reprint, which is coming out at
Keep on
Essen.
moving on up.
It's Stone Age. So Stone Age has stayed pretty close to the People's Choice. It was 38, 41, 34, 24. So it's been kind of moving around in there.
Yeah.
I wonder, have we heard whether or not there's going to be any changes to the mechanisms in that game?
As far as I can tell, there is there's some extra modules or something. Like, I don't know if it's from the expansion or not. They weren't clear on that. And then it looks like the other board is just aesthetics. Do you want to play on a winter board or not?
No.
That doesn't make sense.
Well, I don't know. I'm hoping that the components are nicer too. We'll find out in a couple weeks.
Okay.
Or as of you watching this, we've probably already talked about it.
Is it coming out really soon?
It's at Essen, I think.
Okay.
It's one of the Essen things. I might be wrong on that, but I thought it would be at Essen.
Okay.
So, anyway, your number 38, Stone Age.
Good choice.
My number 37 has been on the list for 5 years. It was 36 last year, so hovering around the same thing. Still one of my favorite games, the first Dice Tower Essential Sheriff of Nottingham. This game there's some games that you remember, like events that happen in them, and I can remember so many Sheriff games. I remember the very first time I played it, before it was Sheriff of Nottingham, we played it in Korea, back when it was, what was it called? Crossing the border.
Wasn't it the...
That was where you were crossing the Mexican border with maracas and sombreros.
I guess so, yeah.
I don't recall. I'm sorry what it was called. I don't remember.
Yeah, but we played it and it was fun. And then the Robin Hood was not as fun, but it was still fun, that version. And then when it got upgraded to Sheriff, we played live several times where Z has me in stitches with his stupid how he portrays the sheriff each time. We played a lot at conventions with people, and it's just one of those very memorable games.
You must have a background in acting.
We haven't pushed that one for a while.
Barely.
Anyway, Sheriff of Nottingham, my number 37.
My number 37 is new to the list, and just take that for number 37 all the way down to 32. So there you go.
Wow. Here we go, baby.
So my number 37 is new to the list, Smiths of Winterforge.
Wow, I need to get this game played.
This is a very fun game. It is it's dwarves. Come on, man.
Done.
Yep.
So
done.
someone makes a
ever want-
dwarf Viking game
That's it. I mean, if I
Wait a
ever
minute.
want a game I make to be in
from
Sam's
Emperor S4,
top 10, yeah.
designed by
Oh my goodness.
I don't think that he
Corey
cares about
Konieczka.
that. He doesn't care about that part.
Man.
with miniatures.
Yes. That you don't have to put together.
Oh, he doesn't care about that as much.
And then they should say on the cover 100 stickers, and when you open it, they're already stickered. Be like, we love you. That'll be easily top 5 games ever made. I don't even care about no mechanisms.
Cool.
It's not even
Just
anything.
that I got
you
a
don't
personal
even play
note.
the game. You just open it like
Yeah, it's like, ah.
Yeah.
you had fun.
All right, so now that I can actually talk about the game, Smiths of Winterforge is a dwarven game where everybody is taking on their own little guild of dwarves.
Okay.
That you're trying to basically run your business of supplying orders, filling orders. You have to go to the market, pick up the materials you need for the orders that you've picked up to make. You can do loans. It sounds very economic, but it is a worker movement game. But you can also play it as a worker placement game if you play it with the highest number of where you have not just one move. You have up to 4 players. You have one worker, and you move him around the board. But if you have more players, I think it's up to, I want to say 5 or 6. I can't remember exactly. It's been a while since it's at the table, since I've read the rulebook. But you actually will have 3 workers.
Wait, you have more workers with more players?
Yes,
That doesn't make sense.
it's backwards. I
Weird.
thought the same thing. But yeah, that's how they have it set up. But it's really fun. I've only played it with 4 players. That's why I'm hazy on the other part. But because that's where I really enjoy playing the game. I like just moving the one dude around and having to choose.
Why do you roll your eyes every time someone says worker movement?
Because it's worker placement.
No, it's worker
No, it
movement. It's
isn't.
different.
You're picking him up and placing him somewhere else.
But you are restricted by where he can go, so it's
like
very
in
different.
every worker placement game, that's
No.
the stupidest thing.
Stop. I always feel like what's that country in Europe, man?
Switzerland.
Switzerland. Good night.
That's why you sit in the middle, baby.
I know. No, you can't reach every spot on the board.
Okay.
Like in a worker placement game. If it's a worker placement game, I take my guy out and I can put it anywhere on the board that I
Maybe.
want
It depends on the rules of that worker placement game.
No, that's the difference between worker placement and worker movement. You can't make it to all the other places on the board. That's why it's called worker
I don't think you're
movement.
Switzerland. I think you're France, and you're with me. So back off.
No, I'm just trying to explain without getting blown up. That's why I call
Like
it
Switzerland.
worker movement. Goodness gracious. You can only move 2
Okay.
spots. You can only move 2 spots.
Okay.
And some spots are 3 or 4 spaces away. So you
Okay.
can't make it to the entire board.
So it's a rondel.
No.
Okay, now you're just trolling.
Yes, he is. Anyway, Smiths of Winterforge. This has taken much too long. Number 37.
37. You know, I used to have a different
Dasher.
game in 37. Now, though, it's a new game in 37. My number, no, it's not new to the list.
Are
It
you
was
stalling?
54 last time. My 37 is Bear Park or Barren Park or something like that. This is a tile laying game in which you are building up a bear park. I'm not sure why it's specifically just a park for bears, but
I would go to a bear park.
I would too.
why just bears?
Why not?
I'd wear all my Chicago.
We have a lion
paraphernalia.
safari park. We have a monkey island. It's like we have a monkey park close
Have you
to
been
us.
to Lion Country Safari?
No.
There's like 60 animals in there. I mean, like lions are there, yeah, but
Oh,
it's
there's more
not
than
just
lions?
lions.
Okay, but the monkey jungle's just monkeys.
And humans, and there's probably something else there.
There's always humans in the
I don't know,
park, you
there's something-
dork.
I've never been there. Anyway,
They actually have a humans exhibit.
that'd be amazing.
No,
The
would it?
monkeys.
You would literally have incarcerated people.
This is the stupidest
Yes,
argument ever.
But
Sorry.
they would have a lot more interaction
Back
than
to-
in, you know what?
Back to the game. Was Barren Park in the US last year?
Yeah, 54. It's 37
I thought
right
it just
now.
came out.
It must have just made the list last time. I don't know. I really like it. It's one of my favorite tile placement games, sort of, growth games. It's very streamlined. It's easy to manage. Once you cover something up with a new tile you've purchased, then whatever you've covered up, you'll get. I like that progression system. It works smoothly. It's pretty attractive. Easy to play. It has an intro mode and then an advanced mode. You can skip that intro mode and just go right to advanced. Doesn't add that much complexity, and it makes the game way more interesting. So there you go, 37, Barren Park.
All right, my number 37 was 36. So is the People's Choice. Their number 37 was 36
Seriously?
last year, too.
Wow.
And this is one I don't know if it's shown up on anyone's list yet, but it will if it hasn't. And that's Deception, Murder in Hong Kong.
Oh, good,
Deception,
Yeah.
Murder in
Yeah.
Hong Kong.
good choice.
What was this game originally called? Like Detective?
CS Files?
CS
Yeah,
Files,
CS
that's right,
Files.
CS Files. And in fact, it still is called CS Files in some countries.
In Europe.
In Europe. Okay, such a great game. I haven't even played with the newest expansion yet. You have. And you raved about the newest
Great.
expansion.
Undercover Allies, really good.
This is a game I still see people play often. I think people like it. I'm telling you, it is a Mysterium killer. They're very similar in my opinion.
Yeah, it definitely killed Mysterium for me.
I mean, Mysterium has cooler artwork.
Yeah.
But the detective thing, I think, really gets people can get into that whole figuring something out. It's not really logic. It's still social deduction, but that it feels like logic. Well, he said stabbing, and that you can't stab with a water bottle. A glass water bottle. And that's the kind of
taking a
arguments we
drink.
would have. All right, your number 37, Deception, Murder in Hong Kong.
Help!
My number 36 was 38 last year, 89 the year before that. So it keeps
Very
moving on up.
consistent there.
I just played this game twice at the convention in Iceland. I always teach it because I'm one of the few people who plays it, and that's Adventureland. I love Adventureland, and every time I teach it to people, they're like, "This is really fun," but it didn't really take off. I mean, it came out, and it's this.
Sounds like a theme park.
What was the game that whooped up on it?
That came out from how about the same time?
Yeah, the one that won the spiel. It was the
Oh, I don't know.
one where you put the tiles together, you form a path.
Oh,
Karuba, right?
yeah, from Haba?
Yeah, from
Aruba,
Haba.
yes.
Right, so Haba released 3 games. They released Spookies, Adventureland, and Karuba. This was their
Aruba's clearly
initial.
the best one.
This was their initial entry into the middleweight thing, and they've since kept doing it. Karuba won the Spiel des Jahres, but Adventureland is clearly a better game.
Did that game win the Spiel?
It was nominated. I don't remember if it
I think it
won.
might have been. No, I don't know. But anyway, Adventureland you like better?
Oh, I love Adventureland, and I love that in the base game there's 3 modules, and they all play very differently. One's like a area control. I mean, they all have the same basic game, but the victory conditions are different. So you play, and then if you get the expansion, there's a full co-op. There's, just a few other ways to play. Yeah, it's a full co-op version.
What about Spookies? You like that one?
Spookies is fun, but it's not clearly as good as the other 2.
Okay.
So Adventureland, this one just keeps. I don't know if it will keep rising, but I like it a lot.
I have yet to play it. You won't teach me. You teach everybody else but
All
me.
the time.
All right, my number 36 is new to the list. And it is a game that I was introduced last year at Essen, so I've known about the game. I've played it probably, I played it I think 3 times at Gen Con.
This Gen Con?
Yeah.
And it's not Blood Rage?
No, it's not Blood Rage. And I've played it a couple of times after Gen Con as well. So I wasn't able to play it at Essen last year, but when they actually, when I actually did get
Is
a
it
copy.
an Emperor S4 game?
No, it's not an Emperor S4 game.
Well, it has to be a small game for you to be playing it a couple times.
No.
What?
Tsukuyumi, Full Moon Down. This is the antithesis of a small game, and it's
You're
almost
right.
the
It's
antithesis of an
really
Emperor
big.
S4 game as well. Now, the thing with this game is that it does take a while to play, but you can stop the game at any time that you want. The rule book actually does say that. But it has to be...
Yell at him! That's the same thing as Duel of Ages.
Ah!
No. There is actually an end game condition.
Ah!
But anyway, it's an area control game. The components is what really kept it from being higher on my list. I really enjoy the gameplay. It has completely asymmetric player powers that are also balanced,
So when the components are better at some point,
which they possibly could be if the winds that I've been hearing ring true. So there's a possibility for this to be an actual plastic miniatures game in the future, but I don't know.
Riot Games is making.
Why are you spreading rumors,
It was
man?
not Riot Games, and I'm not going to say
stay
who it
tuned
was.
to
I'm just
Kickstarter,
saying
okay?
it's
You'll
a
see.
possibility. It's not even in stone yet. So,
Tiny Epic
In
Tsukuyumi.
stone, they're making miniatures out of stone.
oh my goodness.
Go and
you
tweet
guys.
that.
Tsukuyumi Full Moon Down has a great background, has great artwork. That's one of the cool things about it. The designer of the game is also the person who did the artwork, so there's a little bit of a Ryan Lockett vibe going on there. But it's a really fun game. It takes a bit to play. Has a large footprint for the table, but it is very fun and enjoyable. So made my list. Number 36, Tsukuyumi Full Moon Down.
My 36 is Yamatai. This was 23 last time. It dropped a little bit. Still hovering in the top half of my favorite 100, though. Yamatai is very attractive. It's got a lot going on under the hood. It is a sequel, spiritual sequel, sort of, to Five Tribes. And there's things I like better in that game than in Yamatai. But there
I
are a
don't see
few
how
things.
How are they even remotely the same?
They're from the same designer. You said remotely, okay? Moving on. No, they have a lot of similar concepts, like having hiring djinns in Five Tribes is the same as hiring whatever they're called in this, helpers. I don't know.
Okay, I
Like,
guess,
there's
but
that.
I
You
like
can develop that.
Yamatai way better than Five Tribes.
I like I said, a few things in Yamatai better, such as what I just said, those helpers. I think in Yamatai, they're a lot more interesting because, for one thing, once you hire them, they just work. In Five Tribes, you need to keep paying for the djinns to work. So that strategy is a little harder to get off the ground. I still think it's very thinky, it's very Eurogamey, but I enjoy it. I like the building up of the different aisles, and the game definitely, if you take a photo of it at the beginning and then a photo of it at the end, I love the progression.
Yeah.
I like that in games a lot.
Choosing what path you're going to place your ships on and all that.
Yeah, and just the buildings will start popping up on everything,
Yeah.
and you got the
Looks
gates,
really good.
the gates for the temples and all that. I really like it. Yamatai, 36 for me.
All right, we're at number 36. From 36 to number 1, there are only 3 more new games to the People's Choice.
Okay.
So this is one of the 3. Let's see if you can guess it. Very popular, light. It's not light. I guess it's mid-weight game. Includes dice as one of the major mechanisms. I see this one being played at pretty much every convention I go to, and has a theme that until this coming Essen or past this, and was not in any other game that I know of.
Dice Hospital.
No, Dice Hospital's not out widely enough. This is also Daryl Andrews' most popular game for sure, probably.
Sagrada.
Yep.
Sagrada.
Sagrada, very, very popular. I think the stained glass theme helps a lot, but I think people just like the dice placement thing. Both Sagrada and Role Player were on the list. People like that, pick something and put it into a puzzle. I mean, if you think about it, it's not too far off in spiritual connection with like the tile placement games. You're taking a puzzle piece and putting it in
Right, it's just a die.
grid.
Happens to be a
It
die.
happens to be a die, but the color needs to match, and you're trying to get colors and numbers and things like that.
I think the marriage of the two, of the theme and the not the mechanisms, but the components is what makes it really pop. Because if we just had like pastel dice out there, would not be the same.
Sure.
The translucent, colorful, bright, vibrant dice really make this game pop. And it really fits well with that stained glass theme.
I like the stained glass theme myself. So, all right, that's your number 36, Sagrada. My number 35 is new to the list, even though I played the game like 4 years ago. Didn't even hit my top 200 last year.
Wow.
But playing
Play it a bunch recently?
playing it recently, and then it came out with two big expansions and some smaller ones.
Wait a minute. You said it didn't even make your top 200?
Yep, and
So
it
this is
shot up
even
that high.
more than the other one that we were flabbergasted about.
This one's really high, but the expansions helped that much. I really like the expansions, and the more I played it, I just liked it. Worker placement, put the worker on, take a worker off, and that's Raiders of the North Sea.
Okay.
This one has really shot up for me. I don't know why it wasn't higher for me earlier. I guess when I first played it, I liked it. I said it's good, but
Not enough expansions.
the expansions did open it up some. They give you more choices and more things to do. I think it must be it, because I won't play without the expansions. I really like it a lot.
I need to
I like
come
the
up with
Viking
that
theme.
whole thing. So that if someone comes up to me with a game I don't really want to play, be like, do you have the expansion? I don't play without the expansion.
Wow.
Well, see, I thought about that. That's actually like a whole topic in of itself, because sometimes someone will bring a game that I really like, but only with the expansion, and they don't have the expansion. And I'm like, well, I said I would never play this without the expansion again.
The one time you will try this, though, they will be like, oh, yeah, I got all of them.
I don't play with the expansion. I'm good either way, man.
I thought you didn't hate this game.
No, I like this game. This is
okay.
a good game. That new one in the same world.
Architect of the West.
Architects.
Yeah, that was also on my list.
That I want to play again because I think I might like that one even better.
Oh, yeah.
I like Raiders better, but Architects is also very good. So my number 35, Raiders of the North Sea.
Number 35, new to the list, Rise of Tribes. Rise of Tribes, yes. No, I really enjoy this game.
That's the first one I've heard that
this has...
it's not good.
Not good. Whatever.
I'm kidding.
Whatever.
Send all your hate to Sam at dicetower.com.
No, do not, because I love this game. And the components upgrade pack that they sold at Gen Con just makes it even better. That was
Did you get it?
Yeah, I did. That was my only really kind of a niggling complaint with the game, is that I thought the components in the base game just didn't match the quality of the game itself.
Okay.
So when they added in this...
Yeah, but I do have a problem with that. When I say the components aren't that great, not that they could be better, but if I say they're not that good components, they're like, oh yeah, but there's better ones that you can get. Well, those should have been included with the game. I'm not saying you need to have the best with the game.
Yeah.
An
No, I
upgrade
get
pack's
that.
fine, but when the components themselves are not that good compared to everything else, that feels like they pulled it out.
I still liked the game, though, with the chintzier components. And
That's a quote they're going to use in the box.
Right, I'm sure they will. No, the thing that really I like about this game is the fact that it gives me the feel of a Civilization game in an hour or under an hour. And I also like the fact that it has a definite end. You are racing to 15 points, and the first person to get to 15 points, they're the winner. And so those are a couple of things that I like about the game. Everything else is just kind of gravy on top of that, because It has variable player powers that you can use that you can play the game with or without them. You can play just generic player powers, which I don't know why you would ever want to do that, because it really does spice up the game. You get to choose what special player power you have. That's another cool thing. So it's just a lot of cool things about it. Came out of nowhere really for me. I did enjoy the artwork. That's what kind of opened my eyes to it.
I think this was in your top
first.
10 anticipated for the year, wasn't it?
Yeah. And it was mainly due to the artwork. But after I played it, knocked it out of the park. Number 35, Rise of Tribes.
That's another one I haven't played, man. 35 for me was 43 last time. This is a game called Arena Roma 2, which is
That's a cool game.
it's Roma, the sequel.
Wait,
to
you played it?
The sequel to Roma. This is a Stefan Feld game from yesteryear. It's one of his earlier games, actually.
Yes.
I like Roma.
Yesteryear.
That's a good design, but it was really, it heavily relied on, well, two things it did that I wasn't super thrilled with. Iconography, which meant if you were looking at cards upside down, then it was a little more annoying to be like, okay, what's on your side of our board here? It's a two-player game. And then the other thing is that the strategy for making points relied around one specific kind of building. There were like 3 or 4 copies of it, but it was that building or bust. It felt that way. Arena, which is the follow-up, really opened up the design. Now it has text, which I did find I liked better. And there are so many different paths to victory now. You can get points in lots of different ways. There are lots of different cards that let you attack your opponent's cards. There's just more going on. And this is a game all about rolling dice and then using those dice to make money, grab more cards. You pay for cards, and then with those dice, activate it. If I put this card in front of the 4, I rolled a 4, bam, it does whatever that card says it does. Really like this game. I've liked this game for years, and it's just, I don't see this changing anytime soon. It's one of my favorite two-player games. Just a fantastic design. Stefan fell for the win, baby. Arena. Roma Dos. That's my 35.
Roma dos. All right, People's Choice 35 was 21 for them last year, so it's dropped a bit, but not as much as you might think, considering a lot of people consider it as a flash in a pan game, and I don't, and that's Mechs vs. Minions. So still really high up there for a game that some people say is just a bunch of great components, but the game behind it is really good, and people really like it.
Okay.
I'm not pointing at anyone
Why are you
particular.
looking at me?
What do you think, Sam?
Okay, the argument that was made earlier in the earlier segment was that it was the best components out of all of the games out of all of these lists.
Is it?
No.
Which one's got best component?
We're about to get to one.
Oh, let's do it.
Not immediately, but in this segment.
All right. My number 34 has been on my list since the very beginning, although this is the newest version of it. It was 11 last year, and then the year before that it was 34. So last year I was like, oh, this is great, amazing, and now I'm like, yeah, it's still really, really good in my almost top third, but it's kind of settled to I think where it will be for a while, and that's Thunderstone Quest. Thunderstone 3rd Edition.
Than Mechs vs. Minions.
No, but it has really good components. One of the flaws, I think Thunderstone Quest would probably be higher on my list if it played a little quicker with more than 2 players.
Yeah.
3 is okay, 4 feels interminably long to me. But I still like the idea. I like the deck building. They have completely changed Thunderstone now. Thunderstone would not be in my top 100 at this point. I don't think it would even be in my top 200. It was a good game.
This is radically different game.
It is very different. It now really feels like a dungeon crawl.
Okay.
It feels like you're collecting the stuff you need, then into the dungeon you go. There's actually even, depending on what monster you attack, where in the dungeon, they'll do different things. And the artwork is better. It's a different game. But it's not one I'd recommend to everybody, though. Like, I wouldn't even play it with you, I think.
I wouldn't play with you either.
Oh, well, to clarify, I wasn't talking about the game.
Get that.
Nice!
Get that feeling of.
Switzerland, jump in there, man. Come on, help me out.
Stop!
I'm going nuclear.
I don't think Switzerland actually does that. I think they just don't do anything. They don't try to stop countries from fighting, do they?
I don't know.
I don't
Just
think.
in the middle.
All I know is
Thunderstone, my number
awesome.
34.
It's awesome. Switzerland is awesome.
Number 34 for me is new to the list, and it is Clank. In space.
So to clarify, this is not the one with better components than Next vs. Minions.
Absolutely not. I told you it wasn't the next one. It's coming up soon. Clank in Space is my favorite version of Clank by far, and that is because I feel that it fixes a problem that the original game had in it, where one person can just run in, grab something on the on the most shallow level, and then run back out and
I just don't.
and try to. I don't like the possibility of that being there. I don't like that. That's anti-thematic to the game. You go in, you dungeon crawl. You want to get something good and something that's gonna set you up for your family for the rest of the time.
No, I'm just saying in real life, if I went into a dungeon and there was a treasure, I'd be like, let's go. I don't, especially if I knew there were spiders and a dragon farther down in that dungeon.
You wouldn't keep going.
Okay, first of all,
In real life, no.
You wouldn't have walked in there in the first place in real life.
Also correct. My Clank would have been me like going.
So the whole in real life argument is flawed.
Well, the last time I dealt with the
tragically
dragon
flawed.
in real life, sorry.
But it's just it just seems antithematic to me. In Clank in Space, that's not how you do it. Everybody has to get to that last room area. Now you can grab the one that's right on the edge of that last room, but you have to get all of the key cards to get over there. Everybody has to get over this last room and then get back out. I think it works much better that way, and it's much more fun that way as well.
You would really like Apocalypse.
Okay, well, we'll see. Well, maybe not. My number 34, Clank.
It's Apocalypse.
The expansion to Clank in Space.
Oh, an expansion too
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
space? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, my 34 is a card game.
Well, surprisingly.
Tile laying kind of card game. This was 39 last time, about the same spot. This is one I played with Sam, actually. Sheep and Thief.
That's good.
And Sheep and Thief was, or I guess is, a little, I think it's a Japanese design, I'm not sure, that we played. It's a cute game. Components were interesting. It had those little sheep that were basically
Puffballs.
cotton ball. It was weird. But the game did get picked up by a different company. I forget who right now, and reprinted, new artwork, bigger format cards, boards upon which to play before you were laying out a paper mat to lay out these cards on. And it solidified not how good the game was. I already knew I really liked it, but how playable it is. How easy it is to get just about anybody to sit down, draft some cards, and then play them into their tableau, trying to connect cities to different other, your starting city to other locations, trying to avoid the robbers stealing your sheep, just gathering different groups of sheep, maybe moving them to safe houses. There's quite a bit going on in it for a little, 30-minute card game, but I really enjoy it. It's one of my favorite drafting games. And then once you're done drafting, you do something with the cards. They don't just sit there normally. I like that a lot. So Sheep and Thief, great looking game and a fun, easy one to get into. 34 for me.
I've not played this one, I don't think.
I don't think so.
Number 34 on the People's Choice has gone up from number 60. It entered the list at 60 last year, going up. It will probably go higher. We call this the Z Effect. This is the Arkham Horror card game.
Oh, man, no.
Because you keep playing it solo on our channel. That's I'm sure that is the sole reason the game is better.
No. This game is extremely popular without
I know.
me existing.
I just wanted to hear you say it. So anyway, Arkham
You know what?
Horror
Now I'm sad. Now I'm sad on the inside where my emotions live.
Yeah, this was also this is
are.
this is one of the they've really narrowed their LCGs that are current. There's only a few out right now, right?
I
There's
think
Arkham
so.
Horror, Game of Thrones. Is there any other one that's currently being sold?
Yes, of course. You're bad at this.
What?
Arkham Horror, Game of Thrones.
I just said those two.
I'm taking a break. It's what's
Legend of the Five Rings.
Go ahead.
That's true. That one is.
Netrunner.
That one is done.
For about another 2 months, it's not. They're wrapping it up in December, I think.
Anyhow,
Lord of the Rings.
is Lord of the Rings still going?
Yeah.
Well, this one I think Arkham Horror is doing well because it's built on the premise of the Lord of the Rings game. It really is.
Yes, it's built on that system in many ways.
And does, I think, a better job with it. Because Lord of the Rings is really tied to the story. It can't really deviate from that story too much with characters and things.
No, I don't know about that. Have you played the Lord of the Rings card game?
Well, if it does deviate, that's problematic if you like, wait, why is this character here? You know what I mean?
The problem with the Lord of the Rings one is it is not story driven. Like, it doesn't feel that way. And the Arkham Horror one is. I mean, you are going through a story, and the bad stuff will happen, good stuff will happen, you end up the game, and then there's a resolution. The Lord of the Rings one is, hey, you lost. Or you won.
Yeah,
there is
lost.
no, like, you won, therefore, this happens. Like, it's just a win-lose.
I want a card that says, you lost.
You lost. You lose.
Here. You lost. All right, so anyway, you're number 34,
Get outta here.
which is probably on someone else's list, Arkham Horror, the card game. All right, my number 33 is new to the list, although, I don't know, we'll see where this ends up in future years. Right now, I'm real hot on it, and so is everyone else. It's probably the hottest game out right now, and that is Root. Root is doing really well.
Oh, Root.
I am Groot.
I thought you said I am.
I'm going to play a game called Groot. Come on.
I am Root. Whoa, hey, watch your language.
Root is an asymmetrical war game. There's no other way to put it. It's a war game that's really condensed down with cute little Redwall-esque artwork. But it has 4 very different factions, 2 more factions if you get the expansion. The players are, it's fairly quick. It's like a little over an hour.
It feels like a war game?
Yeah. Well, see, the guy who designed it is the same guy who designed John Company, which is a very long, complex game. Remember that one we played about the Indian trading and a guy came over who ran packs?
Okay, yeah.
John
and Company, I think is what it's. No,
And-
that's something.
Well, either way, we played it and he was like, this won't be a very long game, which kind of like a bald-faced lie.
2.5 hours.
It was a long game. But
It wasn't maybe long for him, you know.
But he's designed a lot of, it's supposedly based on the coin war games from GMT. And people say it's a very simplified version of that. I'm okay with that. I don't care. Simplified is good for me, but I like how each faction is just very, very different. The cats are like the guys who control the land. They start all over the board.
They're in the cradle, yeah.
The mice are like forming a resistance against
Hand
them.
over my torch to you for bad puns.
But each faction just has a very different feel. They work and interact differently. I think it's best at a 4-player game because of that.
Right.
But Root, really like it. My number 33.
This is one I have to play at some point.
My number 33, just squeaking into the top third of my list, and that
right.
just recently, because this is new to the list. It is a social deduction game that smashes up 2 other previous games, one called Good Cop, Bad Cop, and the other one called Resistance, and does so in such a seamless way. I really enjoyed it. It's called Patriots and Redcoats.
Wait, you played this before you made your top 100?
Yes.
Oh, wow. I thought you just played this one.
No, I played it like 2.5 weeks ago. Yeah.
You really like it?
Oh yeah, yeah. No, this replaces the Resistance for me, as a matter of fact. And
That's some pretty high praise.
It also kind of replaces Good Cop, Bad Cop as well, because it has that very similar feel where you have 3 cards in front of you, what those 3 cards are determine your loyalty. If you have 2 redcoats and 1 patriot, then you're a redcoat. But if you have 2 redcoats and you're a patriot, a spy, then you're a patriot. The spies
very
and,
Good Cop, Bad
the
Cop.
Spies and leaders
the
trump
same
anything. It's the same thing. I told you it was.
Is it the
smash
same
up.
designers?
That I'm not sure of. I never pay attention to that kind of stuff. You know that. Anyway, the other mechanism that they employ from the Resistance is that there is a commander, first person basically, for every round. And at the end of every round, they're going to be calling a war council. And that war council is going to be him and 1 other person. And then you have to go around the table and vote on that war council. And if it passes, then he's going to draw 3 of the war tiles. And the war tiles just say, patriots or redcoats on them, basically, with the flag in the background. And he's going to take 1 of the 3 and discard it face down, and then he's going to give the other 2 to his other person in the war council, and then they have to choose. So it's a way for him to.
That sounds a little Secret Hitler-ish from what I
I've
hear.
never played Secret Hitler, so I really enjoy this game. I love the theme. I think it's a great. It has that Culper. I can't remember the name of the.
Okay, so I can say you gave me 2 red coats. I had no choice.
Yes, and that's another cool thing about it is that while the war council is passing these tiles, they're not allowed to talk to each other about anything. But as soon as the war tile has been placed face up, then the accusations, I didn't have a choice. He gave me 2 of these. There's nothing I can do about it. Of course, the other person's going to be saying, of course, no, I gave him a definite choice. You know,
like
that type of stuff. Yes. No.
Draw my sword upon you.
But this one rocketed up as far as social deduction games are concerned. It's probably, in most situations, especially if I think that the theme will go over well, it's going to be my go-to. Number 33, Patriots and Redcoats. From Green Feet Games, I think is what it's called.
Okay. My number 33 is an old standby to these kinds of lists. I don't think it's shown up on your list yet, but I assume it will. Mission Red Planet is my 33. Was 61 last time. Was probably on the list last time before that. It's been on the list. This is basically citadels with area control. And some meanness in it and some, pushing people out, killing their astronauts and taking over areas on Mars. The new version, that is the one you're going to be able to get now, has the moon added back into it. That was in the original design. They pulled it out before it got published. So they added that back in. They reworked a couple of things. I really like it. Solid game. Always shorter than I think it's going to be also. Always surprises me, this game. Those 10 rounds go quick. You know what I mean?
Yes, they do. Much faster than you're expecting.
Yeah, so I really like it. Mission Red Planet. Great game.
Yeah, it's in my top 200. I like it a lot. I don't think I hit the top 100 for me, though.
You're
But
wrong.
good game. Number 33 for the People's Choice has also been on the list ever since it's begun. I think it was as high as 8. Last year it was 26, so just dropped a bit. And that's Small World.
Wow.
It consistently
Yeah,
does
huh?
well. Well, I know it's one of Days Wonder's best sellers. I mean, they got Ticket to Ride and Memoir. And then Small World, I think, is probably number 3.
What about Gang of 4? That must be a big seller for them.
People right now are watching like, what is Gang of 4?
They probably have a big cellar full of it.
It was pretty cheap.
But Small World just is one of those games that every once in a while I'll be like, yeah, I'll play Small World. And it's like, yeah, that's a good game. It holds up pretty well. Forget about that Mega Deluxe version, just a regular version. And I think they just came out with those new expansions, right? That have the trays in them that hold everything.
All right.
They were like you got them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like a bunch of the small expansions in one box.
Okay.
Or 2 of the small ones in one box. I don't remember what it was, but it was small. More than one small expansion became a large one. And they had 2 of those with nice trays.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. So, Small World, you're number 33. Number 32 for me was 13 last year, 45 the year before that, then 11, then 10, and 16. It hovers around. It's one of my favorite games.
It's been pretty high, though, consistently. 11, 12, 11, 11, 12,
It
13,
might
12.
be my
Then
highest.
9, that one time. Remember that time? Yeah.
It might be my highest deck builder.
Ooh, what deck building game. It is.
Looks like it.
If it's his highest, I don't know. We'll see.
It's not Dominion, I don't think.
No, Dominion was my 45.
Yeah, it's garbage. So a good one. What's a good deck building game, Sam? You already said Thunderstone. That's not it. Let's get
I don't
him.
know. I don't know.
It's comic book themed.
It's
Marvel Legendary.
Legendary. Legendary.
All right,
Yeah,
that's
whatever.
not what I was thinking it was going to be. That's not stupid.
What did you think it was?
It's not DC deck builder. Are you kidding?
Well, no.
he hates that one.
That's that other.
Oh, the Sentinels of the Multiverse one?
Yes.
Well, it's not really deck building. You have your own. Anyway, Marvel Legendary. Love this game. The newest expansion that came out this year, as of me recording this, was the World War Hulk. And that was easily my favorite expansion of the whole thing. Yeah.
Really?
Because it has cards that transform. Like you'll play a Bruce Banner, but they can change into a Hulk. And there was a whole lot of cards that did that.
Okay.
You play them and they can you can flip the card and it's something else. I like that sort of aspect.
Double-sided?
Some of them, well, no, there's another card that you had to the side and you bring them in. Dominion did that same thing, but this, it made sense thematically, and there's a lot of characters, a lot of the Hulk, She-Hulk and stuff,
Yeah.
so they could transform. I like that aspect, but it was also very straightforward, and that's one of my favorite comic book storylines. So to see all that stuff, the arena, combat Hulk, and, I just really liked it. So, Marvel Legendary. I know the other Legendary games are very popular. I like Marvel the best. I like that system. I know it's simpler, and I think that's why I like it more. I don't care so much about the offshoots, even of that same system.
Legendary encounters.
No, I'm not talking about Legendary encounters. I like Marvel Legendary better than those, but even in the same, just just Legendary, the Buffy and
Buffy the Vampire Slayer. You don't like that?
Big Trouble Little China, they don't really do anything for me.
Ooh.
They're okay, but I like the Marvel. There's a lot of superhero games on my list, I guess. Marvel Legendary. My number 32.
All right, my number 32 is the game that I was talking about that has better components than Mechs and Minions.
Here we go. Is
So what
it new
did you
to
drop
the
down to
list?
32?
And no,
new to the
this
list?
is just one of the games. Yes, it is new to the list. It's on my list. That has better components
Here
than
we
that.
go.
And that's Mythic Battles Pantheon.
No.
Oh my goodness!
Look,
you
I
are
like
absolutely
Mythic Battles
so
a lot.
wrong.
Guys.
Absolutely
Switzerland.
so wrong. The miniatures in this are so much better than
me some
Mechs
cheese.
and Minions.
Swiss.
So the gameplay with this as well, the dice manipulation aspect of it, to figure out how you're going to attack, what kind of attack, how strong your attack's going to be. That was a really cool aspect to the game, one of the coolest parts of it. But another thing I like about it is building your squad, so to speak. You have a certain number of points that you can use to use this god or this demigod or whatever it might be, and how you piece your team together determines in large part how thick your deck is going to be and how many different things you're going to be able to accomplish throughout the course of the game, and who you're going to be able to activate. So it has a lot of cool stuff going on with it, and I was first introduced to this game, goodness, I want to say 2 Gen Cons ago, so maybe 3 years ago. Was the first time I was able to go to a press event for this, and so when it finally came out, it didn't disappoint. I'll put it that way. My number 32, Mythic Battles Pantheon.
I actually think we're both right here. I think Mythic Battle Pantheon actually does have amazing miniatures and is better produced than Mechs vs. Minions. It's just not a board game. It's a miniatures game.
Is there a board?
Yeah, it's a modular board.
It's a miniatures game.
It's a modular board game.
It's a miniatures game.
Whatever.
Does it have measuring and stuff?
No.
That doesn't necessarily cut it out from being a miniatures game.
What's a miniatures game? What's the difference if it has miniatures?
It has miniatures in it, I guess.
I mean, that's
No,
a lot of
it
games.
has two sides of miniatures that you build your army and fight against each other and to accomplish a mission. That is a miniatures game.
Oh, like points?
On a modular board.
They have points.
Is Heroescape a miniatures game? Yes.
It's a board game still, though.
Do they have points? Like you can make 1,000 points or whatever, that whole thing?
No, it's not that. No, it's a number of points is like 18 or 20 points.
I don't care about the number, man.
So,
Is it like 20 points and I put together 20 points worth of dudes and fight your
Yes.
20 points?
That's
It's a
correct.
So
miniatures
back to
game.
Mech vs. Minions.
Bam.
I think Mech vs. Minions is the best board game, not counting obvious miniature games. Yes.
You guys want to hear about a real miniatures game? A real thematic.
He's about to jump to a
game.
card game.
The fact that you drew the delineation between miniatures game and board game on 2 games that literally have the
Literally.
same components. As far as there are miniatures in Mechs and Minions and a modular board, there are miniatures in Mythic Battles Pantheon with a modular board.
No, but
It is the exact same thing.
Mechs vs. Minions is a cooperative board game where you're fighting against stuff. It has, but I think it's the whole package too. The inserts, the cards, the boards, the dice. It's all beautiful.
Same thing with Mythic Battles Pantheon.
Doesn't have those inserts. What are you talking about?
Okay, well, the inserts, the one thing.
Anyway, Z, give us a card game.
Fellas,
We know it's a card game.
Card game.
it's not a card game. This is a board game. It has a bunch of plastic in it, baby. Theme. A lot of
others.
theme.
The others.
Yinch. It's my 32. It's a game about tactical movement, blocking off your opponents, you know, taking their pieces and slamming them on the table upside down on their faces, turning it from black to white or vice versa. You are trying to get 5 in a row. Once you've done that, you body slam your opponent, you remove their ring. Actually, you take your own ring out, put it aside just as a way to brag. I can do this with fewer rings on the board than you. Of course, the rings representing the strength of your army and so forth. This is one of the best thematic board games for just 2 players out there. Modular board? No. Miniatures? I don't think so. But who needs that stuff, man? Give me plastic rings and double-sided discs like Othello, and I'm good to go. Yinch did drop a little bit. It was 14 last time. It's my 32 right now. One of my favorite abstract games. Did I say that? Yes.
It's a great game.
It's a fantastic intro abstract.
We'll let the rest of that speak for itself.
One of the most.
All right, People's Choice also
Hyperbolic month?
could be very thematic choice. It was 17 last year, so it's dropped some. And I assume it will continue to drop just because Gateway games usually fade and when a new one comes on. And this is Splendor. Splendor, still at number 32, still hate it by Sam. The expansion didn't seem to
Quietly.
the expansion didn't seem to really
The expansion did not
boost
do
it, right?
did not do much, huh? Yeah, it was one of those. The expansion to that round, it reminds me of the expansion to Bruges. When it came out and people were like, "Who want expansion to play base games?"
Well, especially since the expansion for Splendor was more than the game, I think. It was a really expensive expansion.
Jeez. Okay.
And part of the main reason it was expensive were those little plastic cities
little
and things in
towers
it,
or whatever, yeah.
And that was the least interesting of the expansion parts. And then you paid the most for it. So
Yeah, that's
anyway,
not good.
but still very popular game, Splendor. Although, if you remember for a while in our game group, we saw Splendor played every meetup by someone. I haven't seen that in a long time.
Well, like you said, people move off of those quickly.
Yeah. All right, so number 32 for y'all, Splendor. All right, my number 31 is new to the list. Although there is not currently an English version of this game out, they are going to kickstart it hopefully soon.
What a trendy cat.
Yeah, I
What
guess.
is it?
Well, the English translation of the title is Awkward Guests.
Okay.
This is that deduction game I was showing you with the where you like the Clue style game where someone gets murdered and you write everything down.
Okay.
This is my favorite deduction game. I believe it's the highest one on my list. I love deduction a lot, and this one just fantastic. It's more in depth than say Cryptid. Cryptid's a great, fast, solid deduction game. But this one here, you are switching cards back and forth, but using a map and saying, okay, the murderer could not have gone this way, so therefore this person can't be. Well, this person could not have moved through this room, so they can't be the murderer. I really like that. I like that there's a lot of information passed back and forth. It's a step above, let's say, Mystery of the Abbey, which was already a step above Clue.
Sure.
And it just really works for me. I'm not a big fan of the artwork, but whatever. I like the game a lot. So, Awkward Guests, or I forget the Spanish name of it.
I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't remember.
Yeah, anyway, Awkward Guests. I believe it's going to be kickstarted soon, so we'll see how well that does.
Okay. Very cool.
My number 31 is not new to the list. It was 32 last year.
Wow.
So it's
slightly better.
Well, slightly better, yeah.
Well, more importantly, it didn't get pushed off by those other 6 games.
Right.
Right.
That is correct. Also, better components than Mechs vs. Minions, in my opinion, but that is Tannhäuser. Tannhäuser.
I won't argue with that one because it's so obvious to everyone watching.
It is, well, no, it's not widely available right now. It's largely out of print, and that is a crime against our hobby, basically.
Sir, I'd like to arrest you. What?
Exactly.
You stop printing Tannhäuser. Follow me.
So
Christian Peterson's crying in prison.
What is going on?
it has, in my opinion, one of the best line of sight systems that has ever been employed in any miniature game ever. Where it's, I don't know what they actually call it. I call it the ring system, where if you're standing on a spot that has a circle around it that has a color on that circle that is also on a circle of a person that you want to shoot at or at something you need to see or whatever, then you can see it. It's so simple and it's so easy. I don't know. I just don't understand why people haven't used it. It just.
I think I've seen it in a couple other games, maybe.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I have not seen it at all. The miniatures are pre-painted that you could buy before it was criminally not produced any longer.
I'm adding to the charges against Mr. Peterson.
Well, it's not his fault anymore. I mean, it's not going to be his worry about it anymore. But anyway, it's a great game. You can play different modes. You can play just straight, first-person shooter style where
Skirmish, right?
Yeah, skirmish. You can play capture the flag. You can play just any number of things. There's different scenarios that are in the book that you can play after as well. You build your team's loadout every time based upon different packages that you can give your people, and that determines how they interact during the game. There's just a lot of really cool stuff about this game that I've enjoyed for a very long time, and it's not going to be leaving my list anytime soon. Number 31, Tannhäuser.
Yeah, that game has been out of print for a long time, unfortunately. All right, my 31 was 8 last time. Top 10 last time. This is King of Tokyo. And it's dropped just because it's not a very good game. So, yeah, 31. Basically, I mean, anything that is outside the top 20, I would say, is just not that good. So we'll get to the good games eventually. But, yeah, 31, King of Tokyo.
I'm trying to remember a point in my life where that would even be a true statement.
What?
What would be?
Like, if something was outside my top 20, I didn't think it was a good game.
When you had probably played 21 games, I don't know. I mean,
Sure, but I can't remember
well, no.
playing that
Neither.
few games.
Now, King of Tokyo is still great. It's still, I think, one of the best Yahtzee style, try to go for points or just knock everybody else out kind of games. It's colorful, well done, quick turns. I love, and this game does it, and most other Yahtzee-driven games don't do it. You know, where they have that mechanism at its core, is the idea of gathering this energy and then slowly making yourself different from other players, your monster, whatever.
Yeah, I like that a
by
lot.
buying those upgrades. That's really the thing that makes the game. For
Well,
me.
the evolution also helps out a lot in that.
The expansion, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. But I mean, just the core game, the fact that I can gather some energy and slowly buy up these cards that make me different, sometimes in basic ways, like I have an extra reroll, but sometimes not. Sometimes in really different and engaging ways. That is what keeps this game on the list, because there's a lot of Yahtzee-style games, but not like this. So there you go. That is my 31 King
Extra
of Tokyo.
Head is my favorite.
Which one?
Extra Head is my favorite.
Extra
card.
Head. You get to roll an extra die.
I
Yeah.
love it. All right. And last, your number 31 also was in the top 10 and fell out. It was People's Choice 9.
What?
And it was 3 the year before that. And that's because they've diluted this brand. There's like 6, 7 versions of it out now. The Harry Potter one was just released. And that's Codenames.
Oh, okay.
Codenames super popular, but I wouldn't be surprised if the vote is getting split between Codenames and Codenames Pictures and Disney and
There's a Codenames Harry Potter now?
just came out, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I would not be surprised if
Going the way of love letter.
within 5 years, well, especially even more so since it's in the mainstream stores.
Yeah.
Like in Target and all. So what's popular? There's gonna be Codenames whatever. Codenames.
As soon as we get a Codenames Fortnite, I'm out.
Don't think that
Can I do a
it won't
Fortnite
happen.
dance?
Huh?
Don't think that it won't happen.
That's when that
Codenames
happens.
Fortnite? If that happens, we will have to be like, oh, hail Z, the seer.
That's right, but I did say I would be out, so I would fade into the mist.
That was my final prediction. See you next life. All right. Well, hey, we're now in the top third. The games only get better, as should be obvious, I guess, at this point. And
Let's see, what
fewer
do we
new
got?
games to the list, I think, as time comes by.
Yeah, from here on out, I've got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 new games. Overall, 30 of these. Just 6 new games.
Me too.
You got 6 new ones?
5.
5 new ones. Okay, still some surprises, really high.
I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I got 6 and then 1 resurgence from 4 years ago.
Oh, there's some shakeup. There's some shakeup coming.
Woo! Shake it up.
Alrighty. Well, hey, that's another one of our short top 100 lists. Thanks so much for watching. We'll be back next week. Until then, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Z Garcia. Thank you.
Sam Healy. See you on the flip side.